Hey,
Hello, everybody.
how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing off fantastic. I tried to mix amazing and awesome at the same time.
Wow.
It didn't come out right. Doing great.
Wow.
Thanks.
It came out like something. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
How you doing?
I'm great.
Great.
It's Wednesday. I'm here on a Wednesday.
You are.
I'm so excited. It's
Yeah.
it's unbelievable.
I'm pretty pumped.
And look, and we've got a lot of people here too. Welcome everybody in the chat.
Yeah.
It's Don't Worry Wednesday. It's the show where we handle any issues or challenges you may be having. If you're having something you're going through or you want us to talk about, feel free to put it in the chat down there. You can also send us an email at dww@bss.studio. Or I would say you can go to bss.studio, except right now you cannot, unfortunately. Yes, Princess. I will read Princess's post. Any questions or worries, feel free to drop them in the chat. The website is temporarily down, but message us anonymously on email, dww@bss.studio, or Discord at staticp4545, cdvnl6992, or Princess 7101. And we'd be happy to handle any of these, anything you might be handling. Yeah. We're not professional therapists or counselors, and we don't pretend to be. We just want to be your friend, and we want to help you in any way we possibly can. We know you're smart enough probably to handle these things on your own. It's just every once in a while you can get overwhelmed and not exactly know what's going on. It's helpful to have a fresh set of eyeballs looking at the situation. So I am CDVNL, also known as Joe.
That's right.
Our producer is Jesse. Welcome, Jesse. He's amazing. Our chat room hostess is Princess Yellow, and above me is dun, 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 the one and only Static P.
That is true. Welcome. Me.
You are welcome.
Thanks for introducing me. Thanks for introducing me. You're awesome.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for being here so I could introduce you.
Oh, I'm so glad that you're here to introduce me. I wouldn't want anybody else do it. Actually, I'm really glad that you're here this Wednesday. We haven't gotten to see you over the last couple Wednesdays, and it's really nice to have you back. It makes me feel comfortable. I don't know, like it's just like all the tension's off. I don't have to worry about anything. Joe's here; he's got everything under control, and we've got Princess with us as well. I just feel like comfortable. It's great.
Yeah, we got the crew here.
Of course, I'm always really excited whenever I get to be around Joe, because he's just such a great person and he uplifts everybody around him. He's like the perfect human being. So it's pretty cool.
Well, yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure about that. Yeah. So let's see. We're just introducing ourselves. Science, welcome.
Welcome, Science.
Leah needs. Wow, how do you pronounce that?
Leon needs pie now.
Oh, Leon needs pie now. Oh.
Yeah, it took me a little while.
Okay. I was like.
Or wait. Leo. Sorry, Leo needs pie now. Yeah, that's what it'd be.
Leo
needs pie now. Leo needs pie now. Welcome, Leo.
Welcome, Leo. Yeah, I was thinking like Leonardo, like Leo needs now.
Leo needs for now.
Leo needs for now.
Yep, Leo needs for now. I like that too. That's good. That's good.
What kind of pie, Leo?
Yeah.
Because there are many, many different kinds of pie. There's French silk pie. There's
hamburger
apple pie. Hamburger pie. Yes.
Mud pie. Cottage pie and shepherd's pie.
Shepherd's pie. Pot pie.
Pot pie.
Chicken pot pie.
Chicken pot pie is amazing. I haven't had chicken pot pie in a while.
I know, it's so good.
But every time I have chicken pot pie, I'm like, man, why don't I get this more often? It's like chicken pot pie is so good.
Yeah, pizza pie. Yes.
Yep, pizza
There's
pie.
pizza
There you
pie
go.
time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Pudgy pies. What's a pudgy pie? I never heard of a pudgy pie.
I don't know. I don't know what a pudgy pie is. There's apple cinnamon pie.
Apple cinnamon pie.
Mm-hmm.
Cherry pie. Banana pie. Ooh.
Banana cream pie is really good.
Mm-hmm. Lemon meringue pie.
Lemon meringue. Oh,
That's my favorite pie.
dude, really? Oh, I'm
Yes.
with you. That's one of my favorites too. I don't have an exact favorite, but lemon meringue's up there. That one's really good.
And
Oh,
key lime.
Yep. Key lime, lemon meringue. I like banana cream. Blueberry pie is great. There's so many that are great though. I mean, you can't go wrong with pie. You can put anything in a pie and you're like, man, this is great.
Oh,
Taco
those are
pie.
pudgy pies. Princess. Taco pie?
Yeah.
I never heard of a taco pie.
Yeah, it's good too. What's a pudgy pie?
Pudgy pie is the thing you make over a campfire. 2 pieces of bread with pie filling. Those are so great.
Huh, I don't think I've ever had one.
Yeah, you use like a little campfire sandwich maker thing. It's like a thing, and it goes.
Oh, yeah.
Put the bread in there. You put pie filling in the middle. Oh man.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I never had that.
Wow. So yes, I'm definitely hungry now. I did not get to eat much. No, I came straight from Taekwondo.
So you worked hard, and now you like physically, and now without eating, you continue.
Mm-hmm.
Joe's amazing.
Sometimes. So yeah, so we normally we have a backlog of stuff to go through from our website, but right now the website is down. So we we're kind of at a loss of things to talk about. So we're just gonna kind of riff it for a while.
We do have some stuff that I got messaged on Discord, and I think Princess has logged them as well.
Okay.
So I've got like 3. That. Wait, 3? Is it 3? Yeah. 3. One's from Kendra. One's from random, but it's from random, but it's actually from somebody else, and random posted it for them, kind of thing.
Okay.
And it's Mugen Xion, and they were here before. And then the other one is Bree. I don't see Bree here, but Kendra is here.
Kendra is here, yes. So we should handle Kendra's. Is it something you can copy and paste, or is it something you can
It's a little long. I don't know where I can copy and paste it. Oh, wait, I can actually do you have your
Discord
browser open up to the I could send it on Discord too, I guess. I'll do that. Hold on one moment. It comes in 2 parts, so because it's very long. Or like not super long, but too long for Discord to handle. It only handles 2,000 characters at a time.
Oh wow. Okay.
That's all of it right there.
Oh wow, yes. That's definitely a little bit long to post in the YouTube chat.
Yes.
For sure.
Precisely.
So, but it's about kittens. All right. So, you guys will normally we can post a link so you guys can read along, but we can't really do that right now, or at least I don't know how to share it with every single one of you on Discord. But so we'll just read it, and so sit back and I'll read it, and then we can hear some of Ryan's amazing wisdom.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'll give it a shot.
Yes. So this comes from Kendra. And Kendra, thank you for posting. And it says this. Last week, we had 2 kittens die. The first one to die was Ayla, sweet little.
I think it's just supposed to be.
Oh, hey. Okay. First one to die was a sweet little kitten I had named Sweetie, and it was happy and playful the day before. And the next morning, it was barely breathing. And then my dad came in while I was in work and told me Sweetie had died. It was difficult for me to work the rest of the day with a smile, but I did my best. A couple days later, another kitten died. I came home from work and was the only one home, so I had to be the one to bury it. Then a couple days before Monday, our white kitten Skywalker stopped eating. He was shaking and he seemed sad and had no energy. At first we thought it was because 2 of the kittens died, but then he had green snot coming out of his nose and we realized he had gotten sick. We think he got pneumonia because it had rained for the past 2 days and he was outside. We tried force feeding him and getting him to drink water, and he ate some of it, but he wasn't doing well. So we made a really hard decision to surrender him to the vet. It hurt me the most because I was very attached to him, even though we had planned on finding him a home. On Monday at around 11 o'clock, I took him to the vet myself and dropped him off, saying that a stray mama cat had a kitten in our yard and we had started to feed it. They said that they would see what they could do for it, and then I left because if I had stayed any longer, I would have ended up bursting into tears and tried to take him back. After I left, tears welled up in my eyes, and I pulled over in my dad's car wash driveway and started bawling my eyes out and saying, "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, Skywalker," over and over again. I finally calmed down enough and went home, and my dad asked me what they said, and I told him what they told me. He then proceeds to add, "We can't keep feeding these cats and we can't afford to take care of them. Besides, we already have an indoor cat, Angel." I quickly went downstairs, ignoring him because I was about to cry. Once in my room, I went on Discord and asked my friends to talk to me. And then I ended up crying some more. I cried for 2 hours. It hurt so much. After a while, I got up and went outside and petted the other 2 kittens that are still alive and held them and petted them. I needed some sort of comfort. No one else in my family had reacted the same way as me. No one has shown any emotion about it, and it hurts me. I'm wondering if I'm just too emotional and get attached too easily. There are times where I hate this and other times when I'm glad, but I don't know. I'm trying not to cry while typing this. Thank you for reading this long story. Kendra. And that's from Kendra. And it's a story about kittens, and it's a very sad story. And I'm very sorry that you've had to go through that, Kendra. So yeah, it definitely can be very painful if you've become attached to a pet or anything like that. I can totally understand how painful that would be. But Ryan, why don't you get us started here?
Sure. Yeah, it can be sad, definitely. When anything dies, and you're there to witness it, um, anything that you're close to. I mean, like I would be sad over like a chipmunk or something that died. Um, Now I wouldn't necessarily cry, but it would get me down. I would feel bad. There was a trap outside, like a mouse trap set for a chipmunk outside on our porch, and I was like, because I went out there to kind of enjoy the sun a little bit, and then I saw that there, and I was like, what? And so I went inside, and my mom was playing the piano. I went over to my mom. I was like, "What are you guys trying to do?" She's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Why are you gonna like a mouse trap outside next to like there's a chipmunk? Like literally, there's a chipmunk who's like trying to make himself a home right next to where this mouse trap is." And I've noticed this, and the chipmunk is kind of like eyeing it, and I'm like, "Oh no, 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 no." So, and then I ask her what's going on, and she's like, "Oh, okay, so." Her husband set it there because um, apparently the chipmunk was getting into the walls and crawling around inside. And then they had closed, sealed the wall off by spraying like caulk into it. And so they didn't really need the trap anymore, but they set the trap before they did that. And then I was like, okay, so we moved the trap, and then I gave it some food. I gave it some seeds. Because, like, I don't know. I think that it's like, I don't even like killing bugs. And Joe can attest to that. I say whenever I see someone kill a bug, I'm like, you kill it, you eat it. No one ever eats it though. So, um,
It's a mosquito.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with
I'm
people.
gonna kill a mosquito if it's biting me.
Yeah, mosquitoes are the only thing that you can kill because mosquitoes are the spawn of Satan. But like spiders are cool, right?
Spiders are cool.
Yeah. But anyhow, no, like
And they eat mosquitoes.
I don't know. I think this is because the way I see the world is maybe slightly different than a lot of people. Um, I try to look at the world in a way that um, is as though God designed it as it is, and to give love to all things that exist, and respect to all things that exist, whether it be a rock or a living creature. All things have dignity of in itself and ought to be treated a specific way. And I don't think that we should be treating insects in such a manner where we gain joy out of crushing them. Um, and similarly is true for when animals die, of course. Um, there was a bat in my basement flying around, and I was trying to figure out like, what do I do? Obviously anything but kill it. Let it just live down here if it wants. Like, I don't care, right? Doesn't bother me. But anyhow, that's kind of like my take on that. And I think not everybody sees animals that way, right? Not everybody has the same perspective. When your dad said, let's see, they said, we can't keep feeding these cats and we can't afford to take care of them. Besides, we already have outdoor, we already have an indoor cat, Angel. Um, and I think he probably wasn't saying that to without any sort of emotional response. It sounds more like that kind of response is something you say when you're trying to pick yourself up and be logical.
Hmm.
A lot of times when you see conflict, a lot of times when most people see conflict and they don't want to get emotionally wrapped up into it so they don't get down, right? They try to, or they attempt to argue away the emotion with a logical response. And so in this case, he was saying he was probably feeling down. He was probably feeling a little sad for you and for the cat. And as a response, out came was, we already have a cat and we can't really feed all of these cats anyways. So that it's kind of good that we don't have the cat anymore, because then, because we couldn't feed it anyways, right? Type of comment. It's not necessarily the nicest way or nicest sentence to say. Um, but I think it helps to understand that that type of sentence isn't without any sense of remorse or sadness. Um, it's something that is said usually to in response to sadness. Um, so I don't think that you're alone. It's just that that's what he chose to do, and that's his defensive mechanism instead of allowing it to overcome him. Um, and I think it's pretty normal. You said, you're questioning whether maybe you're the only one that gets this emotional. But no, there's plenty of people who get emotional. I remember being said, and I think I've said this before on stream, but there was a bishop, um, a Catholic bishop who was very well known. I don't remember his name right now. There's a um, there's a conference hall where they do like talks and stuff like that. And once every year, they like a bunch of people get together and they do like really great talks, theological talks, and they do it in his honor. It's named after him. I just can't remember his name right now, but it's a bishop of some sort. Anyways, they, he passed away a long while back, but one thing that they said about him, one thing that they revered him for, was that they said he had the gift of tears, um, because he would cry. He would cry when he prayed. He would cry when he heard anybody was in pain. He would just cry a lot, because emotions would overtake him and he would just cry. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, instead of saying, "Oh wow, look at the sissy," they said, "Wow, look at this man who cares so much that he would cry for even whatever, like even an animal, right?" That's how much they care. That's how much emotion wells within them, and they have that passion and that compassion. for whatever it is, for that person or for that animal or for that experience someone went through, whatever it is. And I think that's a beautiful thing. It's often said, when the Holy Spirit touches you, like the Holy Spirit often is it's such a powerful and strong um, essence or power. It is so powerful that when it comes and touches your heart, it almost always makes you feel something overwhelming. And whether that be you cry tears of joy or tears of sadness or tears of understanding, you often cry. And there's, again, nothing wrong with that. And so I think that what I'm trying to say here ultimately is it's a good thing. Um, it's a good thing. Now, of course, we want to be strong. We want to be able to have self control and realign ourselves back to finding that peace so we can carry on our lives. I think one important thing, and the main thing that helps you do that, is concentrating on the future. Because if you pay attention to the present or the past, you can't obviously you can't change the past, right? And the present is important. You're supposed to enjoy the present, right? Live in the present. But if your mind is in the future, then you know where you're supposed to be headed, and that gives you the right direction for what you're supposed to be doing right now. And so whenever I feel maybe, overwhelmed by anything, I take I take my thoughts and I direct them towards, okay, what's most important in life? I think usually about God, but I think, okay, what am I aiming for in life? Where am I going? And what do I need to do now to get there? Because that will set what I'm experiencing right now as strength for heading down that path. Sometimes we take our emotional frustrations and we can do great things with them. But if we're not focusing on anything good, then we won't do good with them. Doesn't mean God won't make good of them later, or we can't do good things with them later. But a lot of times when you're experiencing an emotion, I think one of the best things to do is saying, what am I going to do with this? What good can I make out of this emotion? And I think that one of the things Joe often recommends is great, and that is putting it into your creativity. That's why, people find such a wonderful outlet in creativity, but also their greatest works whenever they're the most and in pain. And that's because we're making good out of an emotion. An emotion isn't inherently good or bad. It's just a response. But we get to choose what we do with it, right? And so sometimes, yeah, things are sad. Sometimes things are sorrowful, and it doesn't feel good. But it doesn't mean it's bad. It doesn't mean it's evil, right? So yeah, I would recommend taking that and maybe directing it somewhere. And you're such a creative person, I can imagine you to you do something along those lines. But yeah, that's what I got. And I talked for a while now, so what do you have to say, Joe?
You just gave my answer.
Perfect.
And is it's okay to feel strong waves of emotion. It's okay to experience that. And then obviously a lot of people who are very creative and our greatest artists and musicians and even philosophers and writers and poets and everything. Everybody who has that creative streak in the arts generally is also burdened with strong emotional responses. And they kind of just go hand in hand. And it's because you can pour your emotion into that art form and from that sad feeling or that strong emotion, you can create something very beautiful out of that. I know that anytime I've written a song, usually, like if I'm just going at it scientifically, you know, like I'm writing a song, it's going to be this, they don't turn out all that great. But when I'm going through a real challenge that's hard, those are the times when the best songs come out. And those are also the times when even if I'm just working on a song that already exists, it's the time when I perform my best. I can remember a time in the studio when I was working on an album and I was working on this one guitar part. And at the time there was so much going on in my life. Like it seemed like so many parts of my life were just falling apart. You know, my marriage was just having trouble. Our finances were awful. You know, we were behind on our house payment. You know, everything was going on. It was just seeming like it was falling apart. And in that moment, when all of that was just kind of piling in on me, out came this one of the most beautiful little guitar parts that I ever put in a song, at least in my own opinion. It just, I hear this one little part of this song once in a while, and when I hear it, I just, like, tears come to my eyes because I remember what was going on at that time. And I just, to me, that it, you know, it just reminds me of how when something is really, really hard, you can then turn that around and make something beautiful. I do want to speak a little bit about your dad's reaction, because being a dad myself, there is a general tendency as a dad to look at things a certain way. You look at things in terms of how I'm going to provide for my family, how I'm going to do this, how I'm going to, you know, how are we going to make all these ends meet? And sometimes you go into a mode as a dad where it's like, I can't get caught up in the emotion of the situation because I have to make sure that everyone's taken care of here. And, you know, like their basic needs are met, all of that stuff. Like I have to shut that off. I can't allow myself to go down that road because I have these other things that in my mind, you know, take precedence over it. It's not that the emotions aren't important. It's just that, you know, as a dad, we kind of get focused on caring, being like providing for our families and playing that role. And so from that perspective, I can totally understand his response, because trips to the vet cost money, cat food costs money, you know, cat litter costs money, you know, a lot of these things. And not only that, but, you know, more life forms around generally means more complication. You know, my in-laws got a dog, and they're telling me they got it for my kids. I'm like, nah, no, you did not. But, you know, so now that they've brought a dog into their lives, now that added a layer of complexity to their life. You know, you got to take the dog out, you got to feed the dog, you got to make sure it's put up when you leave the house. If you're going to leave for, you know, an extended period of time, somebody's got to take care of the dog. You know, so there are layers of complexity that come into your life the more, you know, living creatures there are that you're caring for. And so I can totally understand where he's coming from. And I'm sure he wasn't trying to be insensitive. He wasn't trying to hurt your feelings. He was just coming at it from that perspective of, you know, I've got to provide, you know, more living beings means more complexity, and more complexity means things might be more difficult. There's just more tasks to do. And so I understand where he might be coming from. But also, it's good. And, you know, I also look at my kids and I try to put myself in their shoes. I try to understand what they might be feeling, because they don't look at the world the same way I do. they look at the world a totally different way. And I remember being a kid, and I try to take myself back to that when I didn't have the perspective that I have now, but I had more close to their perspective. And I try and imagine what it would be like to think that way. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to get into the mind of another person. Sometimes it's hard to think like another person, where, you know, they may be looking at a situation a certain way, and I look at it my way. You know, can I possibly trade places with this person and think like them? It's not always easy, but it goes a long way to at least understanding, at least having some peace. So while I understand your dad's response and his reaction, I also understand the feeling of loss. I also understand where you're coming from, where, you know, you had become somewhat attached to these cats. You had named them. And so that, you know, that shows a next level of attachment there. And then for them to pass away is definitely painful, because it seems like, you know, you just lost something important to you. And it's a living being. You know, unfortunately, our world is plagued with death. And it's sad and it's hurtful. But also good can come from this, Kendra, if you approach it the right way. And like what Ryan said at the end of his talk was, you know, if you can take this ball of emotion that you're dealing with, you take this all that's surrounding you, and just pour it into your art, I imagine something very, very beautiful would come from that. And if you do, then I hope you share it with us as soon as BSS.studio is back up. So, Kendra, I noticed you've posted some stuff in the chat here. My family teases me about being so emotional, and more so when I cry. I'm sorry about that. You know, but sometimes that's who we're around. After crying and petting the kittens, I went and delivered a painting to a lady, and she had a cat. He was black and fluffy with green eyes. He came up to me and rubbed up against me, and it helped you feel better when you laid on your feet. So that's pretty cool. I know I have a nephew who has an emotional support animal, actually, and it's very helpful for him. His is a big old German Shepherd. But hey, you know, he definitely helps. It helps him to have that dog around, and so that's definitely a thing. And if you think that might be the case, then, you know, you might start looking into that. So anyway, Kendra, I really appreciate you posting. I appreciate you, you know, having the courage to post this. You know, it's not always easy, and it always hurts when something or someone close to us dies. But
yeah, we appreciate you sharing with us.
yeah, know that here you're surrounded by love, and we're not going to tease you here.
Yeah,
you know.
you. Yep.
And again, pour it into art and share your art with us. We love all the art you've contributed to BSS.studio.
Yeah.
Go to BSS.studio every day, because any day now it's going to be back up. And when it's back up, go to the support. Click on
The
there.
site was down.
You can say, I noticed that the site's back up now.
Add the support ticket.
Yes. So anyway, Kendra, thank you so much. Ryan, did you have anything else to add?
No, I think, well, I guess one little thing, I've said this many times before, but it's also important to remember that the reason you feel pain when something passes away is because your heart recognizes the value of that existence of that creature. And I think that's a beautiful thing. The reason we have pain in the world a lot of times is because there is a such thing as value, something worth being sorrowful for.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I can't help but see that as such a beautiful and wonderful thing. Because that's, after all, how we prove value of anything is a cost. And so, yeah, I think it's always a reminder when something dies how valuable those things that are alive are. And just to celebrate and be joyful for the things that are alive still, and for the things that got to be alive in this world. The things that had a chance to exist, and be joyful for those things, even if they're no longer here. Cherish their existence, even if that means cherishing them in sorrow. I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's it just shows what kind of person you are, how much you care, and how compassionate you are. I think it's a good thing. So, yeah, best of wishes to you, Kendra, and I hope that you can get over the pain quickly, and find something good to do with it.
Yes.
Oh,
Jesse,
doesn't want support tickets.
Yeah, when Jesse brings the site back up, there probably will not be a support section.
Yeah, he'll take it down.
If it's not working, well, tough.
Mm-hmm.
It's better than it was when it wasn't up at all.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Paint some watercolor cats.
Okay.
Do it up.
Nice. Thanks, Kendra.
Yes, thank you, Kendra. You're awesome. And
So
it's always a pleasure to see you.
Science said that they had something, but then they didn't end up saying it because they didn't know how to say it. Apparently. They said, I kind of have something, but I don't know how to say it really. Well, if you ever figure out what that is, I mean, we're open for questions, for live questions right now. So
yes, they're all kind of live right now.
Yeah, whatever you've got for us in the moment, guys. That's all we've got to go off of at the moment because the site is down. Don't have a backlog of comments at the moment.
We don't.
I'm sorry to put you on the spot, Science. I mean, if you want to retract that that notion, that's fine. If you don't want to say anything, it's cool.
Just say it in classic Science Rocks fashion.
Really funny?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny and to the point. You're good at that.
Yeah.
Why do this to me?
Sorry. Oh, Kill has grammar problem.
Oh, not anymore. Retracted.
The grammar problem was solved. Interesting. That was quick. Kind of a bummer, though. I mean, we wanted to talk about it maybe, but apparently you figured it out quickly on your own. So here we are.
Yes, we are here.
Let's move to science. Everyone's put science on the spot. Oh, poor guy. Yeah.
You know, that's also in the book of Joe, science, to always put science on the spot.
Mm.
Hmm.
Nice.
And sea bass also has a small problem.
Yeah.
Yep. So anybody who wants to post, feel free to post. In the meantime, we're going to discuss how Ryan named his owl Waddles.
I never named it that. What are you talking about? I
Yeah.
never named my owl Waddles.
That owl is named Waddles.
No.
It is.
Mm-mm. You know my owl's name.
I do. It's Waddles.
Haley has an owl named Waddles. My
She did.
my owl
Is named Waddles.
is nope. That's not it.
Is named Waddles.
You know, sometimes
Wattles. Wattles.
oh, there's it's not DD. I thought it was
No.
okay. Interesting. Okay, it's like Watt, like
Yeah, it's Wattles the electric owl. You thought there were electric eels, but there are
yeah.
also electric owls.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
His nickname is
When that's not his nickname. That's his real name. Name is People have mistakenly called him Waddles, and people have mistakenly called him the lonely paperwork owl. And I've never made this owl do paperwork. This is not the lonely owl from the lonely owl that does paperwork.
Wattles the lonely paperwork electric owl. Also named for short.
Interesting. I'm finding out new things about this owl that I didn't know about before. Apparently.
Yes, we're there's a whole backstory that you are
There's a
just
whole
not
backstory
aware
in
of.
it. Yeah, I was.
It's your owl. You need to know these things. You need to be
Wow.
aware of the
Yeah.
backstory of your own owl.
Apparently, I've been missing out. Why don't you tell me more about it? Why don't you tell me how did it become electric?
This we'll have to put a pin in it because Seabass has a question.
All right. That's
so
good.
Yes. Seabass saved me from explaining more about Wattles, the lonely paperwork electric owl.
I think what Seabass did for you is saved you from your lies. Probably that way you didn't have to get found out.
It's not a lie if it's the truth.
You're right, but it's not the truth.
Oh, yes. All right. So Seabass has a topic on here. Thank you, Seabass. And it says, so I'm moving to another state in a couple of weeks. I've been down because I don't think I can handle leaving family and friends. So I'm wondering, Seabass, are you moving with family?
Sounds like they're moving away from family. Maybe they're going to college?
Possibly.
What's the occasion?
Definitely moving to another state. But yeah. Thank you, Mercury. You're the best.
Yeah, thanks for that quote.
Wisest words ever said by man. It's not a lie if it's the truth.
Yep. Absolutely. It should be the wisest words ever said by the man. Because Joe's the man.
But then then you would have said it. Because you're the man.
I thought you were the man.
No, you're the man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're the P.
I'm the P.
Well, if by that rationale, I'm the L.
Yeah, I was about to say that you're the L. You're the L.
I'm the L. Though.
I'm moving with my father, brother, and youngest sister. Oh, okay, but you're moving away from other parts of the family. That makes sense.
Okay, gotcha. Well, I can definitely understand the apprehension there, and it's definitely tough. Um, One cool thing is we do have this technology that brings us all together. I mean, here we are talking to each other live
Hmm.
through YouTube, which is really cool. And so that technology can also help in your situation, I'm sure as well, even though you won't be there personally face to face. Um, but yeah, so you'll be moving to a whole new area with a whole new bunch of people to try and get to know and stuff. So, Ryan, do you want to get us started here?
Sure. When things like this happen, you don't really have a choice. You're just forced to have a life change. Um, I think it's important to try to take the time to reframe your mind around it and look at it as an adventure, as if you're moving on for the better. When you're forced into something and you don't have a choice of the way it goes, right? You're like forced into it. You don't have a choice to say no, right? You can either be happy about it or you can be sad about it,
Hmm.
right? And or you can be completely neutral, whatever. You're like, I don't care, whatever. Doesn't bother me, right? But I think a lot of times whenever I experience an emotion, I'm like, do I like this emotion? No, I don't. It doesn't feel good. So then I try to just reframe my mind, give it a different perspective, and think, maybe this is an opportunity for the better. Maybe this will give me a chance to meet new people, make new friends, be more myself, start over, um, uh, get outside my comfort zone and build who I am inside, become a better person. Maybe this is happening to me because there's someone out there waiting for me, like someone I'm supposed to meet and spend the rest of my life with, like a girlfriend or a boyfriend or something, right? Maybe maybe this is happening to me because it's supposed to happen. Um, Whether it is or it isn't, I get to decide what I'm going to do. So, being put into a new scenario, I remember one time when I wasn't really forced to do this, but I was asked to go to a campfire with one friend, and then everybody else there, I had no idea who they were. And so I was like, sure, I'll go. And I was like, man, I probably shouldn't have said that because like I don't know anybody else there. And I'm like, wait a minute, Ryan, you got this. You've met people before, right? Like everybody's a person. And so then, you know, I gave myself a pep talk while I was in the car. And then I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna go in acting like I know everybody there and have a good time. And so I went into the campfire, and you know what? It was an amazing experience. I could have been there and been really shy, which would have been like almost normal. Instead, I went there, and the first thing I did was talk to people, ask them questions, and just joke around with people and say really weird things at really weird times just to get the response. And it worked out amazing for me. Um, and that was only because I changed my frame of mind. Instead of dwelling on the fact that I didn't know anybody there and I'm going to be uncomfortable and it's going to be awkward for me and I don't know how to have a conversation with people. Instead of having that idea, I decided, you know what? I'm going to meet some new people and I'm going to make some friends. And I'm just going to be myself and I'm going to try to be like as outgoing of myself as I can be. Just put myself out there and have fun. And that changed everything. That changed my entire experience through it, right? So perspective is really, really important. Um, and Yeah, continuing on that, you know, you have to leave your family and your friends behind. And that is sad, right? Um, but just like Joe said, you still have ways to contact them in our day and age. You have the internet, you have cell phones, things like that. And there are many chances in life that you'll go back and visit them or they'll come visit you, right? Um, And of course, it is hard because you're not necessarily as close. You can't see them as often. But it's cool because their life still goes on and your life still goes on. And eventually you guys meet up again and then you share your moments together. Um, and so even if you don't get to be with them anymore as much, right? It's cool to know that life goes on and the amount of time you spent with them has changed them and who they are. That's one of the beautiful things about love is when we love somebody, right? When we care about someone, when they're family or friends, that kind of love, um, that love, those experiences we had because of it, live on in that person and shape that person. Um, and so we kind of there's a song, it's called "The Summons," and this is kind of like when I learned about this, it kind of made me cry because I was like in church and I was singing this song and I had heard it so many times before, but then like I had kind of lost somebody. There was somebody didn't like lose him to death or anything, but it was someone that I really, really liked, and they kind of just, you know, blocked me basically from the internet. And it wasn't because they hated me or anything. It was just because they were moving on in life, and they stopped going online as much, and they just kind of went on their own. And I was accepting of that. I wasn't like emotionally accepting of it. I didn't feel good, right? But it is what it is. I couldn't change it. So I remember this song was being played in church, and um, one of the lines is um, basically something to the extent of um, through love, you live in them and they live in you. Um, and that is how it is. They live and grow and move in you and you in them. When you have this love for somebody, when you live in their life, um, yeah, like I said, you change them forever. And I think that's a really cool thing. So now you get to carry on your life. Maybe you're not with them, but in a way you carry them with you, right? And I think that's something to be joyful about. Now you get to take that into a new location. In a way, you're taking your friendships and your family into a new location. The friendship and the family that live inside of you through that love and nurturing the way that they brought you up and so on. Now you're in a new location and you're bringing those interactions into your new life, your new interactions with other people. You know, the subconscious way that you act, the way you move your body, you know, the way that you speak, the way you laugh. A lot of this happens because we take it from those around us, those that we hang out with the most. And now you get to take that and bring it into an area, um, and share that with another part of the world. So, um, again, while it might be sad, you don't get to spend as much time with them. I think having that kind of perspective and seeing out for the future and what you can do for, you know, what's the best thing to do, what can you do that's good. Um, Princess has quoted this song, um, and just kind of do your best to be the best you. You know, um, I think that life is going to go on. It's going to be great. Um, you know, the last thing I'll say is when we are growing up and we're in school and with our family, right? We are in a specific spot where it's like we're constantly surrounded by people and we're constantly surrounded by the same people and their social environments. When we get out of school and we leave and we go to college or we just leave the house and go live on our own or whatever, we come to realize that suddenly the friends that we had in school that we hung out with every day, we don't talk to them ever
Hmm.
at all anymore. It's not like we hate them.
Hmm.
We love them, but we just don't talk to them because they're not in our niche. They're not with us. They're not at our job. They are not talking to us every day. And that's okay. I think eventually we get to a point where we're like, you know what? The world is full of people, and I make interactions with all sorts of different people, and that's beautiful. And while we have our group, which is comfortable, that isn't all there is to life. And life goes on even without that. And it's okay. And, it doesn't hurt. At some point, you get to a point where it doesn't hurt. You make new friends. Old friends, they're gone. And maybe they'll come back into your life at some point, and you don't mind either way. It's just like that'll happen if it happens. And it's cool if it does. If it doesn't, cool also. Like, it is what it is. That time which I spent with them has come and gone, and I am thankful for it. And that's all you can really ever be, I guess. Thankful. But when you're a kid, you're constantly surrounded by whatever environment you're put into. And so you grow up knowing that you have a core set of friends, and that is just your core set of friends, and you don't go outside of that very often. And when you are told to, it's really, really awkward, and you don't know how to handle it, right? And it feels like you're missing something. But that's something, as you grow older, it changes, and you become more comfortable around new people, people you don't know yet, because you have the experiences of the past to build upon. But anyhow, I'm gonna let that be the last thing I've said, and move on to whatever Joe might have to say.
I think what you were saying was really, really wise. And I have kind of a story that reflects that. I live in the middle of Michigan, the Lansing area, and I grew up around here. But for a while, I moved to different areas. I moved towards the Kalamazoo area. Those of you who know Michigan, that's about an hour or so away. And then I moved to northwestern Michigan for a few years, which is actually where I met Ryan and his brother Kyle and a whole bunch of people. I was living there at the time. But it's very interesting because I grew up around here, and I had the group of friends that I'd grown up with, right? And after we got out of school, like Ryan was just saying, we kind of grew apart a little bit, but we still stayed in touch. We got together once in a while and hung out and, whatnot. And, but one of the things that Ryan said that was so important, I think, was that we kind of tend to make friends in the areas where we're put into, right? So we don't necessarily get to say, we don't always get told that we're going to this area where we're going to meet new people. When we're first starting off, it's our school, maybe our church, different social groups that our parents bring us to, and we need to be there. And so those are the people we're around, and that's the group we have to select from as friends, right? So then as we get older, it's still kind of the same way. We choose a profession, or we go to college, and then there's a whole group of people there, and we get to know them there, because that's where we're around. We go and we choose a profession, we start working in that profession, and maybe we're working around other people. Well, that's a whole nother group. We're in that general vicinity with other people. We get to know them. We get to be friends with some of them. Some of them we want to stay away from. But
Sure.
Yep.
Definitely.
But and that's kind of the case. Now, when I moved around the state of Michigan, it was because I had gotten a particular job, and they needed me to move to a different city, a different location, work there, and then they needed another person at the Traverse City up in northwest Michigan. They needed a person there, and so I went there, and through being there, I got to know a whole bunch of friends that I still have now, even though I moved back to the Lansing area. But I still have the friends that I had, that I got close to when I lived up north. And it's very interesting because now here in Lansing, I'm self-employed, and I kind of work by myself. So it's weird because I haven't really been able to make too many friends Now my kids go to school, and that has been one of the toughest groups for me to get to know people and actually get to be friends with. In fact, my oldest son is now in 5th grade. He's been at the same school since preschool. So for like 7 years, he's been at this school. And just 2 days ago, it was a momentous occasion. This past Monday, I got the contact information from a parent at that school. And it was the first time I'd gotten anybody's contact information there, because as the first person that actually, I got to be friends enough with where I got their contact information. 7 years
Wow.
of being involved in that community. And finally, because this person was asking me, hey, I need some ideas for this. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I might be able to help with that. Maybe we can get together and talk about it. And he just came over and he like had his phone out and he's like, what's your phone number? And he texted me his phone number. And I was like, okay. So it was kind of tough to do that. Now there's another group that we have. Princess says congrats. Thanks. Now my kids are also in Taekwondo, and I've been taking classes with them. They've been involved with that for about 4 years, and I've been doing classes with them for about 2.5 years or so. And I've made a lot more friends there, maybe because we have to fight each other.
Contact, even if it's like, aggressive, still is something, right?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's like it's like there's a line from
Yes, no.
There's a line from one of the Matrix movies where Neo had to fight this one guy, and they were fighting and everything. He's like, and then he stopped the fight, and then he said, "Good." He said, "What was that all about?" He said, "I had to make sure you're the one." And he's like, "You could have just asked." And then the line was, "No, you do not know someone until you fight them." And in a way, that's true, because I have a very intimate knowledge of some of these people in the martial arts class, because we stand toe to toe and spar with each other. So I'm not saying that's the way to go make friends. Please don't take that away from this story.
You try it. No, don't.
But like Ryan was saying, you get to know people just from being where you are. And I would encourage you, wherever you end up going, just be open. Just be receptive to those around you. I think one of the reasons it took me so long in the environment of my kids' school is because I have not been as open in that environment. I've been pretty shy. I'm naturally an introvert. And, there are a lot of people who are extroverts around there. And I just kind of let them do their thing. My wife, she's more of an extrovert. She'll go and talk to people and everything like that. And I just kind of hang out and smile and, watch the kids do their thing and, help keep an eye on them and stuff. But she's the one who goes out and makes all the friends and everything like that, and gets to know everybody and gets everybody's phone numbers. And she has everybody's Facebook friends and, phone numbers and everything. And she's all in that group. It's amazing. And she's also that way at the martial arts community as well. Now, for me, because I'm actually taking the class, because I'm involved in the class setting, that's probably one of the reasons why I've been able to make more friends in that environment than at the school, where I'm just kind of there hanging out and everything like that. So if you're in this new area, just be open. That's the first thing. And you've got your dad and your brother and your sister that you'll be with. So you'll have people you know. But maybe, I mean, I don't know how old you are, Seabass, but if you can find something to get involved in, that can help out a lot. Some kind of extracurricular activity. You know, I wouldn't necessarily recommend martial arts just because it can be kind of expensive. There are definitely cheaper options out there. And then also, you've got there are online communities. You know, you can spend time talking to people online. You know, maybe gaming with other people, whatever it is. I know Ryan has tons of friends from doing gaming, and a lot of people that he's done work with in music have come from people he met while gaming and in those different communities. Is that right, Ryan? I don't want to say anything.
Yeah, that's relatively true. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, but at the same time, while there's great opportunities to meet and get to know people online, there's also something very special and unique about face-to-face interaction when you're actually in the presence of another person and talking to them. There's a level of sharing that goes beyond, I think, when you're there with somebody. And if you find yourself having trouble connecting in that arena, then let us know. Come back and I've got some book recommendations that might help you out with some of that. But yeah, I think one of the things Ryan said was absolutely perfect, and that was treat it like an adventure. The way you look at this situation is going to make all the difference in the world. If you look at it with fear and just a closed off, I don't want to reach out. I don't want to stretch my legs. I don't like this situation. This is a bad situation. If you look at it like that, then you probably won't have a very good time once you're there. If you do, you will surprise yourself. But if you look at it like an adventure, like a new chapter in your life, like it's not necessarily that you totally closed the last chapter, but you just get to start a new one. And everybody you knew before, you met. And you can do the same exact thing in this new location. And people will love you just like they loved you before. And you'll find other people to love just like you found people to love in your previous place. And I know it can be super scary, but did you know that the reaction in our body when we have a fearful response is the same chemical reaction as the excitement response? A little burst of adrenaline, a little bit of heightened awareness, a heightened sense of things. That's the same whether it's fear or excitement. And so when you start to feel afraid, remember that this is the same as excitement. And if you're an adrenaline junkie like me, if you like roller coasters and stuff like that, which is super fun.
That's fun.
That excitement, when I'm going down there, when I'm getting to the top of the first hill and it's super exciting and I get that feeling in my guts, and I think I feel it like right around my kidneys. I feel like it's right in that area. It's like this kind of like jolt right there in my midsection. That's the same exact feeling I got when I was trying to build a business and I was afraid to make a phone call. Is that same feeling, that jolt in my midsection. Bzz.
I actually, this is kind of weird, but I get it on my tongue.
You get it on your tongue, huh?
Yeah. I don't know if I'm
Interesting.
feeling, yeah, I totally get it on my tongue. Like when my adrenaline goes, like my tongue feels like it's like getting zapped with electricity.
Mm.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, for
Like,
me, it's my midsection.
it's your midsection.
It's like my kidneys. It's like the back of my midsection. Like, zzz.
Wow. Interesting. Huh. Okay. Sorry, just a weird. Bodies are interesting.
Yeah. But either way, it's just a surge of an adrenaline and a little bit of a jolt. And it's the same whether you're excited or scared. And you can totally use that to your advantage if you can think about it. So anyway, Ryan, what else do you have?
Thanks, Akil. I was gonna suggest the same thing. Hey, you could listen to shameless plug Adventurer by Static P, whoever that is. It's a good song.
Yes, do that.
Seabass. If you haven't heard it before, and you probably have, but if you haven't heard it before, check it out.
In fact, listen to the whole Criminal Idol series.
Okay.
and think I'll listen to Life Might Take Us.
There you go.
That's by Static P.
That's a good one for this scenario.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because what Cole goes through in that song-isode.
Nice. You made a new word. Oh my gosh, I like it though. That's great, dude.
Yes, new word. Wow, new word.
I like it. Song-isode.
I got all new quotes.
Nice.
It's not a lie if it's the truth.
It's not a lie if it's the truth. That is true. Yeah, listen, just listen to everything Joe has on his channel too at CDVNL. It'll only take a couple minutes, unfortunately.
Yeah, because there's not very much there.
Yeah, someday.
Take about 7 minutes.
Yeah, precisely. But anyways, no, I don't think really have much to add to that. So, thanks for that, Joe. And you know, Seabass, just have fun, enjoy yourself. Love wherever you get. Love wherever you're at.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, you're very welcome, Seabass. Yeah. Thank you for the topic.
Yeah, thanks for sharing with us. Mm-hmm. Thanks for letting us talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, and hopefully some of that's helpful. I know one of the things that was super helpful for me was when I discovered that the reaction for fear and excitement is the same reaction. And I was like, well, I like being excited, but I don't like being afraid. And then I was like, wait a minute, it feels exactly the same in my body. Like,
yeah.
So weird.
Thanks. Love you too.
I love Static too.
I love it. I love all of you guys.
Yes. So onwards and upwards. I saw Bree was here a little bit ago. And she might have left. I don't know.
Well, science is here.
Science is here.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Science is here. Yeah, that's very interesting. Science Rock says it's the same response without any danger or risk. Right. Fear, we have a perceived risk or danger. It's very interesting. Most things, though, honestly, while we're afraid, most things there really isn't any danger. It's all just invented.
Yeah.
Sometimes there is danger. In fact, there's more danger there for me in my example that I was mentioning before, there was more danger on a roller coaster than there was on my phone. I mean, seriously, I could have got hit with like a bird or something on a roller coaster and had it, whack me in the face, and that would have been dangerous. On my phone, there's no danger there. Just making a phone call.
Right. Yeah, but let me tell you, making those phone calls. So Joe and I used to work in a business together a while back, and it's the business that okay. So Joe, he was telling the story a little bit earlier. Joe was he was in this business, making phone calls to people to get other people in the business type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
And so he calls up somebody who directs him to my band teacher. And then, is that right?
Yes. I had called. Okay, so this was a network marketing company that we were a part of, right? So I had called a former coworker of mine who he had just retired, and I called him, and I worked with him, and he led me to the band director at Ryan's school, who then led me to Ryan's brother Kyle,
which was funny because the band director was afraid to call anybody, because the way that it works is if you know the person, you're the one that makes the call.
Right.
So my band director scared to death to call anybody about like, hey, there's this business thing and I'm supposed to invite you to it. Like, you're going to turn me down, aren't you? Yeah. So I thought, all right, goodbye. Kind of like, that's how you feel. Right. And so you told him, I think it was you, right?
Yeah.
Just call the person you know will not ever say yes. That way you already know you're going to get a no, and you don't have to worry about what they're going to say. You already know it's going to be a no. So just call them. And then he was like, okay, I can do that. He called my brother.
Yep.
I was like, okay, yeah, sure. You want to, like, when do we get together? He's like the only person. He wasn't the only person, but he's like one of the few people that actually said yes. And it was the guy for sure would say no.
Yeah, that was
It
hilarious.
shows what you know about somebody. You think they'll say no when you offer them something and end up saying yes. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But
and even though we're no longer a part of that company, we made some glorious friendships and had some great adventures. And that was one of the things. I mean, when you start talking about adventures, one thing, just be open to life around you.
Yeah.
Just be open to it, because there's so much that you could miss out on if you hold on to your opinion. One of the things I constantly remind myself of, I try to constantly remind myself of, is I might be wrong. Could it be that I'm wrong? It doesn't hurt to ask yourself that question once in a while.
It does a lot of good.
What's that?
Sometimes it does a lot of good.
Sometimes, yeah, absolutely. Sometimes it does a lot of good. And so you're looking at a situation and you're like, oh my gosh, this is a really hard, crummy situation. Could I be wrong? I'm going through this financial crisis, like all this stuff is barreling down on me, and I just can't get out, and it just seems super duper stressful and hard. This is a really bad situation. Could I be wrong? Maybe this situation that's hard and a struggle was put in my life to help me learn better financial discipline. That's a whole nother perspective. It's like, oh my gosh, this situation is so hard, it's bad. Well, just because something is hard doesn't make it bad. It's hard, but maybe the reason it's hard is because there's a lesson in there that you need to learn in order to truly grow in a big way.
Mm-hmm.
Survived the trial by fire. Sometimes. I don't know. I'm still working on the hook kick. I haven't figured out the benefit to the hook kick yet. It's kind of like a hook. It's kind of a kick. It's the opposite of a round kick. What's that?
Do you hit with your heel?
The bottom of your foot. You can hit with either your heel or the flat bottom of your foot.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, and then your leg. Yeah, I don't know the benefit of that though because it's not a very powerful one. And it's hard.
Well, would it be more beneficial? Well, does it look cool?
Well, every kick looks cool.
All right, see, that's it. That's it. I was gonna say, yeah.
See, it looks cool. See, Mass.
I was gonna say,
Yep.
well, theoretically, if you spin around and you obviously pull your leg inwards, right, while you spin, then it's gonna have more motion and therefore more force. But I don't know how the hook kick is performed, so I have no room to talk. Like the round kick is essentially the same thing, so I don't know.
A round kick, you kick with the top of your foot. Boom, right?
Yeah.
And actually,
outwards.
One thing you can do when sparring, I will say this, there is a benefit here to the hook kick, because if you start with a round kick and then spin around and quick, you can use your other leg and do a hook kick with the other leg right away, you know, spinning around. You can kind of catch your opponent off guard.
There you go. That's what it's made for. Might not be very powerful.
But I think what Seabass says is absolutely right. It just looks cool.
It looks cool. That's it.
Looks cool.
I think Princess might have something. Princess, do you have something? Am I supposed to be reading this? You posted something on Discord. It's up to you.
Oh, Science Rocks also just sent their question.
Oh, where did you send it?
Did you send it to Discord?
Oh, that's from Science. Okay, this is not Princess's comment. It's from Science. Got it. All right. So I'm just gonna copy paste this to Joe so that he has it. There you are.
Okay.
If you'd like, you could even give it a read.
So yes, I will totally read this one that came from Science via Static P and Princess. Awesome. All right, cool. So Science, you're totally fine.
Static P says Princess says Science says.
Yes. Yes. And Princess sent it to Jesse. Good. Awesome. Thank you. So it's just making the rounds. Pretty soon it's gonna make it all over the place, Science. So yeah. All right. So this comes from Science Rocks. I suppose here goes. I've been debating whether or not to ask this, as I think I could handle it on my own, but I guess I just want to share. I've just been feeling very insecure lately and very clingy lately. I've been very impatient with getting replies or getting attention from people, and I fear I may be getting too clingy. But I'm not sure because, as per usual, people don't speak up. In fact, I keep getting mixed signals. I think that just makes my paranoia worse, though. I know how to handle it, even if I'm not successful every time, but it's just so hard being paranoid people don't like me, or people hate me, or wondering what I did wrong, or wanting to do something about it, but worrying that would come off as clingy, which it probably would. I know I need patience for this. I need to let a short time pass, but I just hate the idea of waiting a week to talk to someone that I fear might not like me. Someone that I really want attention from. My anxiety just makes this nearly impossible. And that's from Science. Science, thank you. Hey. yes, as we say in the beginning of the show, I'm sure you can handle this on your own.
Yeah.
But sometimes it just helps to have, some fresh thoughts about it.
Yeah.
So yeah. So thank you, Science. Thank you for posting or for sending it to the appropriate places so it can get to where it needs to go. Princess is always the safest person to send something to, I will say.
For sure.
Hopefully,
a lot of times because she's the one that usually gets it down on the website for us to read. So
yep.
Yeah, and sometimes when I get them, I just send them to Princess, and then she puts them up on the website. So
she would put them on the website if it was there.
Yeah, but it's not.
I would just start a support ticket.
But you can't.
But I can't. Oh yes. So Princess, thank you for being that person. And Science, thank you for posting. And I'm gonna hand it over to Ryan. Oh, if I can elaborate a bit, I just like to get things solved and over with, as waiting and not getting any results for anything is torture. I can feel your pain, brother. And Ryan, take it away.
It's all right. Well, I asked this to Princess the other day. Why don't you like pain? What's up with that? It's just whatever. I mean, it's just pain. Like whatever. Get over it. Why don't you like it? Science. Like, I mean, yeah, maybe it doesn't feel good. Like, but okay. I think that's kind of my attitude. I'm not really like directing it at you, like to shape up, dude. But honestly, that's kind of how I treat it myself. A lot of times when I do a lot of like self-talk, like Brian, you are better than this. A lot of times I say to myself, type of thing. Not necessarily that line, but things along that line. I want to be the person that has patience for everything. I want to be the person that is strong enough not to worry about what other people think about me. I want to be that person. And so when I tell myself that, right, when I know that that's who I want to be, then I go, okay, well, let's do that then. Let's just tolerate it, right? That's usually kind of what goes on in my mind. I remember one time when I think I've told the story probably before, but I remember one time when I was really in this a similar position where I was really anxious, really worried about what a certain person was thinking about me, and whether they, just basically whether they liked me or not, and what I should do. And I was all caught up in myself. I was all caught up in myself and how other people think about me, and I was like, I remember turning on a CD, and I let that CD play, and it was a CD of like one of those talks, and they were talking. I don't remember why, but I was like, you know what? Something's telling me to listen to that CD right there. I don't even know what's on it, but I'm being told right now to listen. So I pop it in, and the CD was talking about some stuff, and they actually happened to talk about part of the issue that I was going through, and start talking about self-talk and how you talk to yourself, and being having your emotions get the better of you when it comes to other people, like relying on other people to be happy and that sort of thing, right? Because we know we're not supposed to rely on other people to be happy, because that's silly, because a lot of people are not looking to make us happy, and even if they are, that's not their responsibility. That is not their responsibility. And I just want to say that to anybody who's like, they make me happy, right? That's nice. That's a wonderful thing. But that's not their responsibility. Don't put that on them. If you love somebody, don't put that on them. That's mean. I'm sorry, it really is. They're supposed to make you happy. You're putting a lot of weight on their shoulders when they're not even supposed to be responsible for that. And I think we've all done that. We've all done that. Every one of us. Um, it's just natural. But I remember listening to that CD. I don't remember what was on it. I don't remember what CD it was. But I got up when I finished it. I was just kind of was like silent. And I went into the bathroom. I was kind of in the dark, but it was like, dimly lit. I stood in the front of the mirror and stared at myself for a while and thought, what do I do? Like, I know this isn't what I'm supposed to be, right? All worried about what other people think about me and whether this person likes me or not. And if they don't like me, I'm all upset and whatever. And I just kind of stared in the mirror for a while, and then I was like, okay, Ryan, what are you gonna do? Let's put a plan together. You know what this is. You know you're being selfish. Because I remember asking myself, like, why do I feel this way? Like, what's going on in my brain? Like, why? Why? Ask myself, why is this? Why is that? Why is that? And I get to the bottom of it. I'm like, oh, I'm just being selfish. I know how to fix that. Two things. One, do things for other people, expecting no reward, wanting, desiring they don't give any reward, hoping that they don't give any reward. And let that be my reward. And then the other thing was be a little bit more positive. Rather than, every time something comes to like, oh, what do they think about me? I automatically assume the negative. Why? That's stupid. Why would I do that? No, you're like, that's silly. Like a lot of people aren't thinking bad things about me. So be more positive. How do I do that? All right. Spend more time thinking about things I'm thankful for, right? Um, I can start doing that immediately. And so what I did, yes, I washed dishes. That's what it was. That kill got me. See, I told the story. I was like, all right, let's just start doing it. Let's put a plan together and start doing it. So I put a plan together and I started doing it. I washed dishes. I did a couple of things around the house, cleaned up, didn't tell anybody I did it. Right? No one ever said anything about it. It was perfect. Actually, my mom might have said one thing about it, but whatever. Um, Training my mind through my actions by saying, don't be selfish. Don't be worried about what other people are thinking about me. And when I think about myself, don't be negative. And just put a plan into action and start doing it, right? You'll solve it. That's, I just took some time, spent some time in the bathroom, put a plan together, and then just went for it. And it helped. Um, yeah, hearing it being selfish, it's true, but it hurts. Yeah. Um, I am focused on getting feedback for my words and actions and getting their approval or seeing their happiness from said action. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, there's nothing inherently wrong with that. But if it gets to a point where you feel anxious or you feel down or you feel upset, right? Then you've created for yourself a problem that doesn't need to exist. And so it's a problem that exists entirely in your mind. And therefore it can be solved entirely in your mind. And that's a beautiful thing. A lot of times actions help create those habits though, so we can do things that change our perspective and change our mind so we can move on. But yeah, a lot of times I just have to talk to myself and figure out at the root, like, what am I being right now? And am I being who I know I'm meant to be? Am I being like, man, I want to be that kind of person, right? I want to be the person who doesn't pass out, when he works hard, right? Like, even if I'm bringing passing out, I'm not going to pass out. I'll force myself to stay awake, right? Things like that, right? I want to be that guy. And so I do that. I be that person. And I think sometimes that's a lot of times what gets me through anything um, is that willpower to just be. And patience and peace of mind come from that. because it kind of stems from self-control. And self-control is where we gain patience. And peace is where we find ourselves. So I don't know, maybe fasting might be something you could try. We've talked about it before, so you know what it is. But anyhow, that's what I've got. I'm gonna let Joe take it away.
I'm taking it away. You know, interestingly enough, I love that story about the washing the dishes thing.
Sorry, Akil.
And I also, you know, fasting is another thing. But one thing, you know, any little discipline that you make for yourself will help. Whether it's fasting, whether it's doing something for another person, you know, all of that. Maybe an exercise regimen, different things like that, you know, they will start to teach you patience. They'll start to teach you self-discipline. And they'll put things that they'll also keep you occupied. So the need for that feedback will just get quieter and quieter and quieter, because you will have other things that you're doing that are important, right? Now, when it comes to fasting, I would recommend going into that gradually. Don't say, hey, I'm going to fast for 3 days starting now. I've never done it before. I'm going to do it. I'd recommend not that. I would recommend starting with maybe skipping breakfast or having a cup of coffee or something for breakfast, you know, and that's it. And then eating lunch. You know, that might be a good place to start. But and I know culturally, breakfast is the most important, you know, meal of the day, they say. But anyway, we'll move on from fasting.
Akil, why don't you just talk for us? Well, can we get Akil on here? He can just do all of our parts.
Akil, how did you know I've been cutting down on sugar? Oh, did I mention that last time?
Maybe.
Or a couple times ago? Maybe I did.
I've been cutting down sugar too.
Sugar. Oh yeah, I remember, because we were talking about weight loss and how sugar is enemy number one. Yeah. So Princess says it's better to skip lunch. That's the one. When I started fasting, that was the meal I started skipping.
This coffee has no sugar in it.
That's good. Coffee doesn't need sugar.
Yeah, well, I usually put sugar in my coffee because it tastes good.
It does taste good.
But I put I put a measurable amount in there so that it will sweeten the bitterness up. I don't mind bitter things, but you know, it just tastes good, right?
It does taste good. It does taste good. Sugar tastes good, man. It's like crack cocaine, man. It's great.
Wait, what?
It operates on your brain exactly the same as cocaine.
Nice.
Does the same thing to your brain as cocaine.
No wonder.
Yeah.
Sorry, okay, anyways, back to subject, hey?
Yes. Sorry. Anyway, so little disciplines can definitely help you in this regard. And it can also build patience in you. Because when you're forming a discipline, you have to somewhat be patient with yourself. Now, here's the thing. In our culture today, you have so many forces working against you if you're trying to build patience, especially if you live in America. Because, man, we've got food available all the time. We've got anything we want available anytime. We've got the internet, which is basically anything we want information-wise, anytime we want it, right now, you know, and Except for if you want to go on bss.studio.
By the end of this episode, we're gonna have said it like 42 times. Jesse's like, guys, you aren't getting it ever.
I know. I'm sorry, Jesse. I love you, and I know the reason it's done is because Jesse's house is under some major construction right now. So yeah. So it's not his fault. I just like to pick on him because it's fun.
It's fun for me. I like that.
And he's such a good sport. He usually just laughs with me every time. No, I don't hear him laughing right now, but yeah, that's okay. So anyway, we live in this culture of we have instant everything. Everything comes our way right now. And we also live in a selfie culture where it's like all about me. And so if you're trying to get rid of selfishness, right now is a very difficult time to develop that. So like Ryan was saying, if you can start thinking of ways that you can do something for another person without getting something in return, or maybe start denying yourself things that you want just for a time. You don't have to fast from food. You can fast from gaming for a period of time. You can fast from social media for a period of time. You know, you can fast from Netflix for a period of time. You know, these things are all legitimate things, and those disciplines will help. They will help you in a few key ways. They'll build some patience and some discipline, and through that, you will find more peace in your heart. It's the weirdest thing. When I started intermittent fasting and doing different things and, you know, slowly lengthening those fasts, I found way more peace in my heart.
Yeah.
Through that.
Absolutely.
Because you find. What's that, Ryan? I'm sorry.
You realize you don't need those things and you're attached to them. You think about them all day long and it disturbs you from peace. And then when you kind of like give it up, you're like, the world actually makes more sense now. Like my mind is actually focused on things that matter. And yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. That is so true. And you find out that you don't really need all these things you thought you needed. And in this particular case, you're looking for feedback. But this is one of those things where Ryan is, what's happening right now is what Ryan was saying you might try to do. And that's where you do something for somebody else and you get nothing in return. You know? So what happened here? So you have done something for someone or said something to someone. What was it? Impatient in getting replies or getting attention. So you've given people your attention. You've given people information. You've given people perspective. You know, whatever communication you've given to these people, you've offered it to them. And now you're not getting a reply. Well, in a way, you've just washed the dishes.
That's a great
not
phrase.
Gotten anything in return. You've just set up a server and nobody said thank you, or they put a support ticket on there. Compliments, support, attempting conversation. Yes, all of those things. one of the things, you know, there's a book called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. There's some great stuff in there. And one thing that you might try is starting to do some kind of affirmation. Do an affirmation statement. Now, here's the thing. A lot of times people will say, you know, if you want to achieve a certain result, then design your affirmation to say, like, you've already achieved it. So I am ripped with 6-pack abs.
Me too.
I'm actually not. And I know that I'm not. And me saying that over and over to myself, I just think I'm a liar. So I don't necessarily like that track of saying, okay, say something that's not true yet, but you want to be true. So you say it over and over again to yourself, and then you program yourself to be that way, right? So I understand the thought process there, but also anytime I've ever tried to do that, I've always just said to myself, you're a liar. I'm a multimillionaire. You're a liar. Yeah.
I'm a multimillionaire. No, I'm not actually.
I'm actually not a multimillionaire. I would like to be. You know, I think we could definitely do some stuff. But anyway, so Hal Elrod of the Miracle Morning fame, he did a little bit of a different twist on the affirmation, where he would say, I'm committed to be whatever that is. You could say, I'm committed to being patient. I'm committed to giving without expecting anything in return. You know, and you can say that to yourself. And then also, one of the things is, for me, it was always like not worrying about what other people think. That was always something that was so terrible. It was so hard for me. I was so self-conscious about what other people thought. And so you can have an affirmation there where it's like, hey, you know what? I'm committed to being a person that doesn't care what other people think about them. And if you say that to yourself every day, sooner or later you start to assimilate that, because you keep reaffirming your commitment to being that way. You're not saying, I am this way, because then you give yourself a chance to call yourself a liar, and that can like really deal a blow to your self-esteem. Instead, you just affirm your commitment to being that person. That way, if you screw up, it's not as big a deal. Because you're just like, hey, you know what? I'm committed to being this way. If I mess it up, well, big deal. I'm just going to try again harder tomorrow. And that's going to be much better. But what happens is you start moving in that direction. And then a month goes by. And you look at who you are, and you're like, oh my gosh, I've actually made some progress here. And then 6 months goes by. And you're like, oh my gosh, I've really made some progress here. You know, and that's one of the reasons why I really, really like martial arts, is because what's built into the whole system is the passing of time. Because it's not just about learning certain skills and taking tests on the skills. Now, that's a part of it. But the one huge part of it is, all right, how many weeks have you been consistent at doing this? Right? How many classes have you done, and how many classes have you done in this allotted period of time? And then the passing of time with that consistent effort. Like, now I'm a blue belt, and which is about halfway to black belt. And I see skills that I have now that, man, when I was a white belt, I had no clue. I had no idea I'd be able to do this kind of stuff. And that also helps to build patience. When you start to understand that every little thing takes time, patience becomes much, much more palatable. And in this case, where you're waiting for a response from people, that's one of the hardest things, because people have the power of choice. They can choose whether or not to respond to you. Like when you're dealing with a computer, like you put something in a computer, automatic response, right? Boom, it's back. People, man, they got lives going on and stuff, and they got things that happen to them, and they got the choice of whether or not to respond to you on top of that. So I don't know, that's something to think about. Here's another thing. Princess says, maybe you're worrying too much about the results rather than what you are trying to do. That's brilliant, because we get so attached to results that when a certain result doesn't happen, we get frustrated. But instead, if we shift our focus to the process rather than the result, we can be in control then. We are in charge of the process that we have. We're not in control of the results. I've been trying to get paid from a certain client of mine for about 6 months. Now, I haven't been really aggressive this whole time, but they owe me money and they haven't paid me. And I'd really like that money to be in my bank account because I could use it. And, but all I can ever do is make contact. All I can do is, just send them a notice, whatever frequency. It used to be like once a month or once every 2 months. And, as time goes on, they still send me work once in a while, but they just don't pay for it. And so then I have to take a look at my process. How am I going to handle this? But I also understand they are in charge of the result. I'm not in charge of that. All I can do is my part. And if I'm doing my part, well, I have to be satisfied with myself for that at least. But for them, I mean, hey, I can't make them do anything. So anyway, I have rambled on and on. Ryan, please say something smarter than what I was just talking about.
Something smarter than what I was just talking about. Did I do it?
Good job.
Thanks. I would say that science, the reason I, was not necessarily as light on you, pointing out, the selfishness, being focused on yourself. Not necessarily like you're selfish. I should probably say self-focused, rather than selfish.
Or self-centered.
Self-centered, yeah. Because but honestly, I think we all need to hear that from time to time, and I know that you're strong enough to take it, right? I know that you can hear something like that and say, okay, what do I do to fix it, right? Because you've got a mind that does that, and I think that's good. That's very great. One last thing I would say about finding peace, being patient, that sort of thing. It's a lot easier to be patient when you know what's important. And when you have when you have things figured out. I don't mean you need everything figured out. I mean, you can be patient about the things you don't have figured out when you know you've got the end game figured out. And what I mean by that is, if you know that, for example, you're in good standing with God, right? Then there's no reason to get impatient about anything. right? All things will happen, all things will come. Just a matter of time. And I think that I think keeping the main thing in life helps to keep your mind at ease and keep patience and peace in you. Um, for me, my main thing is to try to be an example of God's love in the world. Try to be a living example of God's love in the world. So, whether that be how I interact with people or even when I'm by myself, how am I, how am I being an example of God's love in the world, right? And I think that's, obviously for me, it's very religious. Doesn't have to be for you, but not everybody believes the same things I believe, and that's all right. But if I keep that the main thing, then patience is just natural, right? Patience is just obvious. Um, if that's who I'm trying to act like, if that's what I'm trying to make my existence about, then patience is just a secondary result of that. And it's not something I have to try really hard at. It's something that just naturally flows um, from that intention. So whatever scenario I'm in, whatever scenario I get caught up in, maybe I'm dealing with somebody who maybe they're mad at me and they just like walk away and now I can't talk to them to solve the problem, right? That's like one of the most annoying things ever. But in that moment, even though they've left, I can still keep the main thing the main thing. I can still try my best to be an example of God's love in the world, right? And then with that, I realized, okay, well, they've blocked me, so there's nothing I can do. So, okay, what can I do now? And there's plenty of other people I can talk to. There's plenty of other things I can do, right? There's no reason to get worked up because what's done is done. And I think back to what my earlier thing was when it comes to pain. A lot of times, like I said, why don't you like pain? What's wrong with it? And I think patience sometimes or peace sometimes is being able to live with and accept that pain exists and that it's okay. Sometimes we experience pain. That's just how it is. And that's not a bad thing. In fact, we've talked before, pain is how we prove love. Without pain or suffering or, things that we dislike, we can't prove that we like things really, that we love things, that we're willing to make a sacrifice for something. And so when I experience something I don't like, my first reaction is, this isn't bad. Because when I was a kid, when I experienced something I didn't like, I hated it. And I thought it was evil and bad. And I wanted everything to be different. And I just wanted everything to be perfect. But now that I'm older, and not necessarily older, but wiser, I guess, been very blessed.
You're definitely older.
Yeah, yeah, that's part of it, but I'm saying that's not necessarily the only reason, right? So I'm pretty old. That's true.
Old guy.
He's 29, almost 30.
Yeah.
So
you should be writing oldies.
I'm someday I will. Someday I already have.
That's right.
It's a weird statement. But yeah, if I experience that pain, right? Now I can look at it objectively and say, that's not bad. This could be good, right? And I can just let it be and say, that's okay. It's okay to experience pain. I don't have to get worked up. I don't have to act immediately. Just because I'm in pain right now doesn't mean it's urgent. I think a lot of times when we experience pain, we immediately think, oh no, urgent, gotta fix it. No, that's not true at all. When you touch your hand to a hot stove, right, and it burns you, you're like, ow, okay, that's urgent, take it off, right? But not everything is that way. In fact, if you touch your hand to hot water, it hurts, and you say, ow, that hurts, and you take it away. You never learn how to get used to it. In fact, when I was working at Taco Bell, we had to put our hands, we wore these really thin gloves that didn't block any heat whatsoever. And we would take these tortillas and we put them on the grill and make sure they were flat. And then after they sat on the grill for 20 seconds, we had to grab the tortilla and flip it and put it on the grill again, on the other way. And this grill is like 400 degrees or something crazy.
That's
And
hot.
we're grabbing these tortillas on them. And you know what? It hurt me a lot. But I saw the other people in the line and they were just like, no, we do this every day. Like, it doesn't hurt at all. I'm like, really? Like, yeah. Well, if you do it every day, you won't hurt you either. I'm like, really? Okay. So I started doing it. And even within that first day, it didn't hurt anymore. You just get used to it. You just get used to that feeling. And you realize that's how you have to do it in order to make this food that way. And this is how that food tastes good. Like, this is how it's supposed to be. So, and ultimately, it's a good thing. We have to build up tolerance. And so sometimes we experience pain. It doesn't mean it's urgent. Sometimes that pain is to build up something better in us, make us stronger, make us able to do more push-ups or whatever, because that's painful too. So maybe just a different way of looking at things to help you get a sense of patience and not think everything is so urgent. Because honestly, in life, nothing's really urgent. There's not very many urgent things. People go through lists and they write down like, what are the urgent things that I need to take care of? And then they write that, and it's like, you could throw half, maybe like 90% of that list away. Because you know what? It doesn't matter. And so keep the main thing the main thing. And peace should come naturally. Patience should come naturally. And hopefully that helps you with not being so anxious or worried or urgent. Like, people have to respond to you quickly about whatever, so that you understand what they're going through or you get their response, right? So hopefully that helps. Yeah, did you
It
have
helped me, that's for sure.
I'm glad. Do you have anything else you want to add to that?
I just want to reiterate the fact that hardly anything is urgent. There are
Hardly.
urgent things. Most of the time, they involve hospitals.
Yeah.
Emergency rooms and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most of the time. I mean, yeah, you want to get to your job on time, right?
Mm-hmm.
But is it technically life or death urgent? It's not. You can show up late and get the same amount of work done. They're just going to be mad at you. And then whatever. Who cares? Right?
Yeah. And if you find yourself always rush urgently, just start earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Start the process earlier. I know getting my kids to whatever they're going to, whether it's baseball game or martial arts or school or whatever, getting them there, there's a certain process that happens. There's going to be a bit of a wrestling match trying to get them started to get ready to go. And it's going to take a certain amount of time, right? And my wife does this way more than I do. I work more, like, mostly. So I don't have to get them ready to go very much. But when I'm there, usually it's on weekends and stuff like that. If we're going to do some weekend classes or whatever, if I know we have to be at the, martial arts school, we're going to be there. We have to be there at 10:30, right? If I know we have to be there at 10:30, it takes about 20 minutes to drive there. right? So I know I'm going to want to leave at about 10, so we can get there a little bit early, and you're not rushing getting there right at the beginning of class. We have a little bit of time before class to kind of get situated, get our bags put away and everything. But before that, I will start the process of leaving almost an hour before we have to leave. I know that sounds crazy, but I just know how it goes with them. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to just start. That way I don't have to be stressed. I don't have to port that stress onto them. I just say, okay, let's get dressed, guys. Okay, time to pack up your toys, time to put away whatever, to get started. It's just starting the process. So that way the process can go slow and relaxed at a relaxed pace, and then we can leave in an hour.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the same, and that's the same with every single one of us. Like if we find ourselves rushing to do something, it's just like, okay, don't stress yourself out and be like, oh my gosh, I'm always da da da. No, just say, okay, that didn't work the way I wanted it to. I'm going to try starting this process 10 minutes earlier next time and see how that works. And then eventually you will find yourself at a point where it's like, all right, this is how much time I actually need, so I know when I need to start this process. And then Sorry, I hope that was relevant.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Just start yourself earlier. If you're someone who feels like they're rushing to get everything done, right?
Science says, honestly, I think part of the reason is I'm clingy, paranoid, so anxious about it is that I've had a bad experience with someone not talking to me and speaking up about something that upset them. And by bad experience, I mean it was the worst depression I ever felt, and the same one that drove me to get better. Aha. So that bad experience, if it drove you to get better,
you can already see, yeah,
there was a redeeming quality in that. And yeah, so I understand why you would feel the way you do, but you've done what you can. Yeah, you've done what you can in this situation. You've spoken, you've given them the information, you've given them the support. And yeah, it's a process of healing over time. And you continue on this path of improvement, my friend. If you do that, you'll end up in a place where you won't recognize yourself. You'll be like, wow, am I even the same guy? And you're like, I gotta be the same guy. I look the same, except I look older. I got some wrinkles, I look almost as old as Ryan.
Yeah. Long way to go. Long way to go. I'll tell you what, about 90 years on you.
I got this beard thing that I try to shave sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
But Science, hopefully some of that was helpful for you. And yeah, like, best of luck. I know it's tough. This road of self-improvement is never easy, but it can be done. It is always worth it. Nothing that's worth it is ever easy, I've found. Usually the things that are easy aren't really worth it. So that's, I don't know.
Cool. And
it's not a lie if it's the truth.
That's right. We all know that from the Book of Joe.
That's right. So anyway, thank you. We are beyond the 2-hour mark here. So
Jose, we saw yours, just by the way.
Yep.
We have it
And
written down.
it has been written down, just not on bss.studio.
Yeah, that's right. Because something that site's down. Did you guys know that?
Yeah. Go there.
We probably haven't said that at this time.
You should go to bss.studio. Go there. I can tell you what it says. It says on there, this site can't be reached.
Weird.
Yes. So Jose, yeah, we took down your topic, and we will if you come back on Friday, we've got it.
Yep.
So we can talk about it then if you're still dealing with it. But I do want to say, it's okay. I understand that self-conscious, awkward feeling. I understand the feeling of rejection. I understand what that feels like.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, because I know that hurts. And I know it can throw you off balance, and it can, kind of make a mess of your day. I totally understand that. But I do want to tell you you're valuable. So, all right. Yeah, I will. It might be late, so please hold it for me. We will hold it. And as soon as you get there, we'll finish whatever topic we're on. We'll it's not like, yeah, we're not going to be rude about finishing a topic, but
This year, everyone's like, you know what? Never mind. We just started this topic, but you know what? All right, let's do Jose's.
Yep. Yep. So yeah, come on back on Friday, and we'll be happy to discuss it. I think it's a really important topic for a lot of people. Everybody's been wounded in that way, in some way or form,
for sure,
like that. So it's really important, and I appreciate you bringing that up. So anyway, thank you all for being here. It's been a tremendous show. Thank you for everyone who is in the chat. Thank you for all of you that have been just listening and not in the chat. We love you too, just as much. Yes. And if you ever feel like chatting, feel free to do so.
Do it.
Special thanks to Princess for being our chat room hostess. She is amazing, and once you get to know her, she absolutely has a heart of gold.
She does.
Oh my goodness. I have not said that enough. And I know it's been a while since I said that, but Princess has an absolutely golden heart, and she loves every single one of you. She just said, I love you all. Yep. So, man, but she's so awesome. Jesse is our producer, and he has been the brunt of some of our joking this time with the website being down and everything. But special shout out to Jesse. He's going through a whole massive life upheaval with moving and remodeling and everything, and he still takes the time to be here and produce this show.
Yeah.
And thanks. Jesse, awesome. You are amazing. I appreciate you so much. And you put up with my jokes and picking on you and everything like that. So you're outstanding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next time you'll have a much better host. It'll be Ryan.
Oh. Who? Oh, actually, I should probably say I won't be here next week or the week following. So you guys are going to have a guest on the following 2 Wednesdays and Fridays from now. Obviously not this coming Friday, but those ones after it.
I will be here.
But Joe will be here. So you'll have, so don't feel like you've been abandoned.
And I know it's not as cool as when Ryan is here.
Yeah, 'cause
I
I've been-
mainly come here for Ryan
Oh, really?
and all of you
Oh, good. Good.
and the bongos.
Oh, you know the one. This is the one.
Yes. So yeah, actually Ryan will be gone, but you know what? If you are in the Los Angeles area, you might be able to run into him. He's going to be somewhere in that city.
Yeah, if you guys are in the Los Angeles area, yeah. I'm going to be there for a week and a half. If you run into me, don't be afraid to say hello.
What's the place you're going to be? What's the Anime Expo?
Yep, I'm going to be at Anime Expo and also roaming around town for the following days after.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You'll get to see Ryan. You might get to see Rainy, maybe.
Yeah, Rainy's going to be with me the whole time, pretty much.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to meet Rainy, she's going to be, if you see me, you're going to see Rainy, as most likely.
Which would be totally crazy because I've never even seen Rainy.
I've never seen her in person.
You never seen her in person?
Nope, never seen her in person.
I never saw a picture.
I live like 5 hours away. I've never gone to visit her. And I've talked about her before and like, yeah, we should do that. I've never done it.
Yeah, but you got to cross the international boundary in order to do that.
I know, right? But I actually have the special license that lets me just do that.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Great. But I've never used it.
Yeah. Well.
Wow.
Oh well. But anyway, yeah. So if you go to Anime Expo, there's a good chance.
Yeah.
That you'll be in the same place as Ryan. Yeah.
8 hours from you. Wow, that's like no time at all. 2 entire full days. Ugh. Oh my.
That's a ways. That's quite a trip. Now, is it 48 hours by foot or by car?
Yeah, because if it's 48 by car, then it's going to be a lot more by foot.
Or by boat? By flight?
By flight.
48 hours by flight?
I don't think that's possible.
Oh my heavens, where are you? The moon? I live in the future.
Oh, that's it. If you live in the past, then it takes a certain amount of time no matter what. 14 hours away, 14 by plane.
Wow.
Yeah, when I flew to the Philippines from Colorado, it was exactly on the opposite side of the world. And it took me one flight was 16 hours, another flight was like 2 hours, another flight was 2 or 4 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Something like that. So
yeah, and you gotta like stop and refuel planes and stuff probably.
Yeah. It's pretty great. Well, on the 16-hour flight, we actually didn't have to stop. It was a flight the whole way through. I was like, wow, planes can go in the air for a long time.
Yeah.
This was a big plane too. Huge. And you know what? I had my very first quiche on that plane. And I was like, this is good. You know what? I bet you I could make this. And so then like a couple weeks later, I was home and I was like, I'm going to try to make a quiche. And I made a quiche without a recipe. I was like, yeah, let's try to put it together. Let's figure out, let's try to imagine what would be in this. And then I did it and I was like, yeah. Quiches are great.
Very impressive.
Yeah. Except for I made my quiche with bread instead of pie crust. It tasted better anyways. So. This conversation is totally derailed. Jesse, why did you get us here?
Yeah, Jesse, what happened?
What brain is this?
Yeah.
I
You're talking about quiche because you were on a long flight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, well, it's a perfect time to say goodnight to you all.
That's right.
Thank you so much for being here. And
didn't say anything. He says. I'm sorry, Jesse. Okay. Jesse, I'm sorry. Okay, Jesse didn't. I was joking, everybody. Sorry.
We got to pick on Jesse. Yes. But all right, guys. Well, we'll see you on Friday. Come on back. And yeah, until then, know that our love follows you wherever you go.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a lie if it's the truth.
That's right. That's true. See ya.
Bye, guys.
Peace.